No, it's going to get you limited or banned. In this video, I want to help you get more out of winning betting accounts. It doesn't matter whether you're new to this game or you're a seasoned pro, there's going to be something in this for everyone. I'm Tony from Betting Analyst, a full-time professional gambler. Let's crack on. I have no doubt many of you already know and do value betting. And those of you who are not, you're missing a great opportunity. Subscribing to a simple software is easy to do and it comes at a relatively low cost. Now, some people are making hundreds of thousands a month from this type of betting, and maybe you could be one of the next. But you will need to do things correct if you want to extract as much as you can out of this game. After all, sportsbooks don't like losing, and it's inevitable that your accounts will get limited or even closed. All you can do is extract as much as you can during this process. Some of you might be new to this game, so let's start off with some do nots. Now, one of them is, and this I find really cheeky, is that some of these value betting websites, they've actually got affiliate links going out to the sportsbooks. They're getting you to sign up to the sportsbooks through their link. If you do that, you're going to be automatically limited. You are basically signaling to the sportsbook what your intentions are. So be careful of that. I noticed a few of them out there doing this already. They shouldn't be doing it. It's really cheeky that they're even putting it on. So stay away from that idea. And number two is betting on crap. Do not do it. You know, if you are betting on lower league Turkish football, you better be living in Turkey. It's the same for any sport. If it's maybe Belarus ping pong. I know we was all playing on that during COVID, but times have changed. They've moved on, right? So avoid playing any crap. It's going to get you into trouble. They're going to spot you very quickly. These are very low liquidity sports, and that means you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. Number three is the demographics. You know, think to yourself, if you're living in Australia, what interest should you have in Hungary basketball, for example, right? And vice versa. Try to play to your locality. You know, what would be bet on within your country. If you start drifting further afield, then I'm afraid you could stand out. And number four is, if you are starting to use your like friends accounts or multi-accounting, I think it's pretty obvious, right? You've got to stay away from the same IP. Now, I know some guys were getting accounts from college students and then playing on the college Wi-Fi. The problem is the sportsbook quickly noticed that this college Wi-Fi had become very popular. Everybody was playing, everybody was profiting, and that was, you know, obviously problematic. Think also about your device. You know, go in incognito mode if necessary, but try to use different devices to stop you getting noticed. And number five is, don't be tempted to take wrong odds. If they're clearly wrong, then stay away from them. They're only going to get you in trouble, because what's going to happen is the sportsbook will just cancel the bet, but then they will look into your betting account. By wrong odds, what I mean is like a misprint, or if, you know, something's substantially over the market price. Let's say, for example, that the odds were real 2 and you were betting odds at 3.5, then you've obviously taken a liberty. You've also got to think, as an advantage player, you're going to be part of the herd. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're getting these bets from like tipsters, whether you're getting them from advantage playing websites, right? You're going to be part of a group of people that are chasing that same bet. It's going to get you noticed. So you've got to play a little bit clever in this one, right? Try to think it through. Maybe use more value betting software, you know, different ones, right? And take a few from here and a few from there, and then you won't stand out exactly the same, right? Just try to mix it up a little bit. And number seven is, be careful with deposits. If you go with a massive deposit straight away, right, they're going to know automatically that you are a danger to them. You know, you're going to be a big staker. You are maybe an advantage player. You may be buying in third-party accounts. So just bear that in mind. You know, rather than put down like 5,000 in the account, if the sort of bonus is all based on put 500 in, get 500 free, that's the maximum. You should be putting more on that in the first time around. You can top up later. You can do things as you go along, but we'll discuss that in a second. And number 8 is in-play cheating, calling latency latency betting, right? You've got to be very careful. Like if you're buying in information like courtside in or some kind of cricket game, you're getting the feed quicker than they are. That's going to get you banned. That's why I would always suggest if you do in-play betting, try to play at a sensible time, like in tennis when they're going to sit down, or when the changeover is, right? Then you're not going to get into any issues with it. We'll discuss that more also in a second. And number 9 is if you're focusing on lower leagues or sports that have got no real sort of liquidity, you're going to probably get yourself noticed a lot quicker. You're not going to get as much out of these accounts, right? So just bear that in mind. You've got to try to mix it up a little bit. Finally, number 10 is betting obscure amounts. A lot of advantage players, especially in arbitrage, they're being told to bet like 46-11 on one team and the other 53-89 on the other, right? Don't do it like that. Just round it up. Don't try to sort of stand out to them that you are doing any kind of arbitrage, right? So no obscure sums, just a round up. You'll profit in any case. So that's the only sponsor of today's video is ourselves. If you want to join our mentorship program, if you need guidance, you need coaching, you need a consultancy service, get over to the website. We've got advice on there. We've also got tutorials, we've also got blogs, and we've got daily betting tips. And you also can check out our X, and make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want more ways of winning. So let's look at the solutions, what you should be doing. So let's start with warming up accounts, right? You've got to create a false image. You've got to make them think you are a mug punter. So for the first few weeks, at least possibly a month or so, try just to play simple bets. Don't look at advantage plays. Just give the idea, the impression that you're like the everyday punter. Get yourself maybe over to the casino, take their £10 offer or $10 offer for free chips, and then place another 10 yourself, and just be happy to lose a little bit before you actually go in for the big money. And number 2 is be willing to mix up your bets. Now obviously you're going to be focusing on a lot of the bigger leagues, try to get the maximum liquidity into these games, but mix them up. Look like a bit of an average Joe. It just gives the impression that you are a bit of a player. And number 3 on this one, I would definitely suggest that you use multiple betting. That's going to create the impression, first of all, that you are a mug. But if you start accumulating those advantage odds, then you're going to increase your margin, right? So, and you also, if you're doing like a system bet, what's going to happen is you're going to place maybe some EV bets. You're going to have 5 EV bets, but by the start of that game, probably 2 have actually gone back the other way and might have got 3 that have gone more extreme in your favor, right? So they're not going to be all EV bets at that stage, but by multiplying your potential EV is going to give you a bigger advantage going forward. And I would also suggest that you stick with the main bet types. So you can imagine it yourself, like in soccer, football, then you're going to be betting on the 1x2 or maybe the Asian handicap. You're going to be maybe in NFL, betting on the actual money line or the handicap itself. Again, totals in both cases, but stick to the obvious. Now, playing the player market, it's no big deal, but just don't make it like the core of your bets. And of course, unless that bookmaker is specializing in player markets, right? So just think it through a little bit. You want to come across as an everyday player who is watching games and enjoying a bet. And on that note, what I would like to suggest to you is that you learn to sort of buy a point, because earlier I spoke about this congregating people all chasing the same steam, right? So let's just imagine that a value betting site says, bet this match plus 11.5, this NBA game. You can go and buy a point because there'll be proportional betting, so you're going to get your advantage all the same, right? So just think about moving that line a little bit. It's like in tennis games, if they're suggesting a bet tennis player -2, you can probably just bet on the outright as well. You've still got the advantage. The price is following the same line. And number 6 is, and I've heard this from a lot of people that are professional betting, doing this using these systems, and that is bet near the start. And the reason for that is the CL LV, they're not going to spot you the closing line value, right? Because their closing line value is going to be the same. Now, there's a lot of action near the start, a lot of late money goes on, so there's a lot of price changes, and it doesn't mean that they're going to change their price in the last sort of minute or 2 minutes before a game just to sort of follow the flow, right? It's confusing for them, but they'll also think you're not above the closing line value. So think about playing very near to the start. That note, consider in-play betting. You're going to get higher limits. There is no such thing as a closing line value because it is continually moving, right? They can't necessarily copy and paste, see where they are in line with other sports books. They might have one or two windows open, but they can't be watching this all the time, right? So in-play betting gives you a bit of an advantage. Try the ones with the quick timers, but like I said before, try to bet at logical stages so you don't look like you're sort of an advantage taker in terms of knowing that your tennis player is another point ahead, right? Because that could get you in trouble. But normal in-play betting is fantastic if you can get hold of it. Now, let's say keep your stakes sensible. So if you're going to be playing on some kind of ITF in tennis, doing like 25s or 50s, be okay, but you start trying to put down 500 with one sports book, you're going to get problems. Just try to spread your money out, put it between 4 or 5 different systems and so on, right? And that might help you. It should also be keeping just one bet per game within these sports books, right? So don't overindulge, because again, that could show that you fully focused on that, could suggest some kind of cheating along the way, right? So just be a little bit wary of that one. And then I'd like to suggest, if you are sort of multi-accounting, right, then learn to do it properly. Go and use something like proxy dice, multi-login. Don't use any basic VPNs. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should be doing this. It's going to be a different legality in different countries. I don't know how you're reading into this, but if you are sort of multi-accounting, then you want to cover your tracks, and you should even be doing this for your own benefit anyway. But obviously, these systems come at a cost, right? And it's something that you need to take on board. But I would suggest, if you're in this for the long game, learn things like multi-login and proxy dice, because they're a great way of covering your ass. And finally, is really learn to use betting shops, kiosks, whatever you can to get money down. Back in the day, I had the wife on the telephone to me. She was looking through Betfair for the odds while I was in the betting shops placing the bets. We had some massive advantages. Now, it doesn't matter, where you are in the world. If you've got that possibility, then you can do it, because you're going to be in incognito mode. They're not going to be noticing you, and that's always good, isn't it? If you can get money down without them clocking you. So what I want to wrap with is, not all sports books are created equal, right? They've all got different methods, different ways of working. So, your job is to try to figure them out, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that Bet365 will behave like William Hill and so on, right? You've got to try to figure it out for yourself, right? But, how you make money, that's down to you. What I would like to say is, do focus on the shops, do focus on getting people to get money down for you if possible, and also probably look a little bit further afield. The world is small. If you've got people working in other countries for you, that's also a way to sort of get ahead, isn't it? Right? So think it through. Make sure you stay legal. That's the most important thing. You're through to boot camp again. See you in the next one soon. Take care. Bye-bye.